Hope everybody's doing well and having a great day. In this video, we're going to take a look at the now 2 earthquakes in northern New Jersey. Are you serious right now? Yet another one today. That's 2 in the last 48 hours. Last week, we were following a swarm up here in northern New Jersey, so there is definitely something up. The earthquake activity around the northern hemisphere especially has been on the rise the last month, and look for it to increase as we move forward in time when solar activity starts to increase. In fact, it's increasing right now as I do this video. AZ Watchwoman, MJ, Linda, what's going on, guys? Berlinda, hello, MJ Farmstead. Paul Hawk, are you serious right now? Larry from Alberta, good afternoon, good evening, maybe good morning if you're over in the Australia, New Zealand area. I've got a lot of stuff for you guys in this video. Get ready, something's up. Airplanes have been flying strange grid patterns out in the Arizona desert. We've got earthquakes up here in New Jersey. Not in this video, but I'm working on something highly unusual out of Australia again. Another dot connected, but you can see here I put together the map showing the 2 earthquakes in northern New Jersey. We'll see if there's more tomorrow. There have been 2 in 48 hours as the bizarre activity continues. They're talking about an unusual heat signature underneath the northeastern United States that they recently discovered. Also an earthquake way out of bounds up here in New Brunswick, New Jersey, or New Brunswick, Canada. That is way out of bounds. I don't even know if there's any fault zones up there. Bizarre indeed. So guys, I've got a whole list of things. Once again, Arizona grid. In fact, we're going to get right to that because this is kind of weird. Over here at Flight Radar 24, I use this app all the time. I have for years. In fact, I'm a member. Speaking of member, if you guys want to become a Star Family member, click on the link right up here in the top of the description box or the chat box. It's really easy to do. Stacy Gabler, hello Stacy. Michelle, Dogga, Robin, what's going on, guys? And don't forget the super chats and super stickers. Who's got the first super chat today? Back to Flight Radar 24. This is an awesome app. I tell you, a long time ago when I was a kid, I wanted to become an airline pilot. Almost did, was that close. Can you imagine flying a big, massive airplane around the world and getting to see the world basically for free? How cool is that? But speaking of airplanes, look at this. Okay, there's one of 2, well, maybe 3 things going on out here. This is out above the Arizona desert. Let me back out and show you guys what's up. Look at this. This is a very rare grid pattern that's been flown just in the last 72 hours. This one actually yesterday, the airplane was flying a very specific grid. In fact, I'm going to show you. It's as if it was either looking for something or doing something else. And you guys know what that something else could possibly have been. But I don't know. I did some research on the type of aircraft. It is a Rockwell Jet Prop Commander 1000, and it's not necessarily used in anything other than surveying, looking for things, and of course just routine passenger flights. But they did imply that this thing was used for utility type of work. So not sure what's going on here, but let me put this in fast forward, as there's definitely been something up right out here in my neck of the woods. Yeah. In fact, point in the direction right behind me. That's where this plane was doing it, due south. Let me put it in fast forward real quick. Here we go. Check it out. The plane left Phoenix. This was, hold on, this was yesterday. August 4th. Yes, yesterday the plane departed out of, actually not too far from here. Took off and flew this pattern right here. You can see it on Flight Radar. Right there it stopped and did some sort of a interesting maneuver. But it's almost as if maybe, just maybe, because we're not done yet. In fact, we're just getting started. This is flight path number 1, and it covers the vast majority of southeastern Arizona. I'm talking several hundred or a few hundred miles here, but here we go. Watch the path of the plane. You can actually see it back and forth, back and forth. This plane was in the air doing this very specific grid pattern as if it was surveying the ground, looking for something or doing something else. It wasn't that high up in the sky, around 25,000 feet the entire time. That's up where the clouds are, but we don't normally have a whole lot of clouds out here. In fact, let me look at the cloud situation out here in Arizona. You can see yesterday and today, not too much going on out here, at least for the time being. We'll see how that unfolds moving forward. But this is flight path number 1. Check it out. There's the first super chat. Thank you, Chip Happen, recording so many anomalies in southern Florida. I believe it. Thank you for the super chat. You are the first one of the live stream. Thank you, Chip. Appreciate that. Here's the flight path of this plane. Here we go. Drops down into the southern Arizona area, back down, and then across. It went across southern Arizona over to Elfrica, up, back down, and then this thing, for whatever reason, landed over here in Safford. Okay, we're not done yet. So this is flight path number 1. Check it out. Was this thing looking for something that maybe crashed out in the desert? Maybe something otherworldly? So this is an area, I think it went back to refuel, to be honest with you. So it left Safford, finished the grid. Watch. This is like a couple hours later. It left Safford, went back over, finished flying this grid. Up and down above Portal, Arizona. Is that Portal, Arizona? Yeah, that's Portal, Arizona. Flying above Portal, then it went back down, and then all the way across to where it originated from, in Phoenix. Now, this all occurred yesterday, so it basically scanned all of southern Arizona, especially southeastern Arizona. Okay, here we go. Day 2. This would be August 3rd, the day before. It went even deeper into southeastern Arizona. Here we go. Started off up in the Show Low area once again. Came down into deep southern Arizona, and you can see the flight path that it took. We won't go through the whole flight path, but you kind of get the idea, as if it were looking for something. This was on the 3rd, 48 hours ago. Now going to the 3rd once again. Look at this flight pattern. Different area, different day, and it was in the air for 5 hours and 6 minutes. What was it looking for over here? Flying a very specific route above the national forest, the Apache National Forest. Look at that. So there's one of two things going on there, and you guys know what's up. Okay, that was the 3rd. I think that was, yeah, let's see, maybe there was one more. Oh yeah, one more. This is another flight pattern on the 3rd. Actually, the 2nd. They did this the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Here it is again. Flew out of Phoenix, went straight down to southern Arizona. It had already flown over this area once and did it again. So it flew over that area twice. And this area out here, guys, again, it's directly behind me down in the south of Casa Grande, which I'm not even near Casa Grande. So that's out in the pretty vast desert. It's pretty remote out there. It's not very densely populated. I mean, there is some populated areas, but again, it's not densely populated. But this airplane, for whatever reason, and I'll show you the plane, it was this one right here. That's the exact plane, 695JC. That plane right there, very specifically, not one like it. This exact plane was flying a specific grid pattern for 2 days, covering all of southern Arizona. What was it doing? I found that very interesting. I don't know if this thing was maybe looking for something out there in the desert. I've heard of things, landing out there in the desert, and, people have seen things fall from the sky, but the desert's a vast, very dry place, and you don't want to go out there unless you're equipped, So, I don't know. Found that highly unusual. Plane surveying the ground, maybe. Flying an unusual grid pattern above southern Arizona. Was it looking for something, or was it doing something else? As promised, I would give you guys a complete, well, at least a specific hurricane update, just in case there was a hurricane maybe making its way close to the shores of the United States or anywhere else in the Caribbean or even Mexico. I got you guys covered. Don't worry. Well, here's a 10-day forecast, and this is over at Ventasky. This is going to change some. So don't get too shocked when you see this thing showing 111-mile-an-hour winds, as it could potentially be making landfall near Wilmington, North Carolina. Don't look for this specific scenario to unfold exactly like this. If it were to unfold like this would be Erin. We're looking at Dexter up in the North Atlantic. I don't even know how that got a name. I mean, yeah, I see it's a small tropical storm, but I didn't know we were giving tropical storms names now, but there it is right there. No, it's very unorganized, it's discombobulated. But back to this one here, this is 10 days out, so look for this to change, guys. But there is a disturbance, or an area of disturbance, off the coast of the Carolinas, South and North Carolina, that could generate into something. If it did, I would be very, very surprised. So all we can do is watch. I mean, this could get up into the Cat 2, Cat 3 range, according to this. But again, this is a long range forecast. It can and will change. So we will see. But right now, they're showing a potential landfall of a potential major hurricane somewhere between Wilmington and Jacksonville on the 15th. 10-day forecast. You can rest assured that this is going to change some. In fact, it may change quite a bit, but that's what it's showing right now. And you can see the formation area outside of that nasty sand. There's no sand up there. There's not going to be any hurricanes form out in the middle of the Atlantic. They just can't. You know, the environment is not going to permit the formation of hurricanes out here in the middle of the Atlantic. The air is too dry and it's too windy. They don't like the wind and they don't like the dry air. They like the exact opposite. So looking at the Caribbean today, you can see it's full of Sahara sand. It's actually sand particulates, but nevertheless, there's not going to be any hurricane activity in the Caribbean anytime soon. That is just not going to happen. Or over here near the Dominican Republic, the Bahamas, the Lesser Antilles, it's just not going to happen. Even the Gulf has a little bit of sand in it, but not a whole lot. But you can see the Pacific. Look at this over here in West Africa. Wow. That is some thick sand being stirred up. Happens every year. Here it is in color for your viewing pleasure. You can see the sand plume moving up into the Caribbean Sea and another gigantic plume right behind it. I have some very interesting things to share with you guys in this video. Something kind of new, but not necessarily revolutionary. But before we continue on, I want to show you guys a meteor. This is something that came down into the vast remote areas of South Africa. Like maybe they were looking for something out here in the Arizona desert. Well, this came through the sky. Where was it? Bothville, South Africa. Check this out. This was on the night of 8/3/2025. Arnold Swartz shared this video. This is a very large meteorite. Check this out. 3 o'clock in the morning. Whoa, turn night into day. Here it is again, slow motion. Wow, something, more than likely a meteorite, entered the atmosphere above South Africa during the overnight hours of August 3rd. And more than likely, there is a wide debris field over there full of brand new meteorites that have entered the atmosphere. And as you can see, it's very dark out there. No city lights. You don't even see house lights out there. That is in South Africa, or that was in South Africa, loaded with new meteorites. So those of you in South Africa that are anywhere close to that location, you might find some decent sized meteorites. Okay, guys, we are going to Google Earth. Here we go. Every once in a while, we'll run across a cool area on Google Earth. And this is one of those times. We found ice ships in Antarctica. We found pyramids in Antarctica. This looks like something that washed up on a little bitty island. I'm not quite sure what it is. I'll leave that up to you guys to decide. Here we go. We're going in on a 70-foot object. And then I'm going to show you guys 2 secret locations. At least they look secret to me. I don't know why anybody would want to have a building out in this location. Actually, 2 buildings, but I'll show you guys. It's actually a facility. Look at this very small island. This island couldn't be more than, what, 200 or 300 yards wide? But look what's up near the island. Look at that. And I know, it looks like a boat turned upside down, right? But that's a 70-foot boat. How did a 70, and it's brown, it's kind of discolored there. How would a 70-foot boat, here, I'll measure it, watch. Let's measure right around 21 meters. I believe that's 70 feet, right? 69 feet, there you go. 69 feet long, nearly 70 feet long. What do we got going on here, guys? You know where this is at? This is over by our favorite place, Madagascar, just east of Madagascar in the southern Indian Ocean. Where did this thing come from? And it looks like there might be something there. I get it. It's kind of got the shape of a boat, but that's a pretty good sized boat to just get lost out at sea like that. It really is. So could it be something else? I mean, absolutely it could be. It's a good find. There you go. Is that some sort of a craft? It's nearly impossible to say. Let's turn it. Let's tilt the viewing perspective. There it is. And remember, this thing's about 70 feet long. So if this were some sort of a fishing vessel, I mean, you would literally have to sprint from front to back 70 feet long. I mean, that's decent size. And if that were a 70-foot long sailing boat, that would be registered to somebody. That would be an expensive boat. 70 feet would not be cheap. So to just kind of discard it out in the middle of the ocean, I can't see that happening. I just don't see that happening. So it could be a boat, could be something else. I'll show you guys exactly where that's at. If you want the coordinates are 16, 35, 57 south, 59, 30, 57 east. But I got something else to show you guys. That's a 70-foot, what looks like maybe some sort of a craft of some sort, whether it's a water vehicle or an airborne vehicle. I don't know, I'm not there, but we are over here east of Madagascar. Check this out. There's Madagascar, the land of the giant trees, the lost giants. But I want to show you guys something else that I found over here as well. I mean, this is just a very, I would have so much anxiety out here because this is such a small area by comparison to everywhere else. Look at how small these islands are. They're just little specks. In fact, I was going to measure this one real quick while we're here. I was just curious. I wanted to see how big this was. 1,600 feet wide. Are you serious? 500 yards. Wow. That's smaller than Gilligan's Island. Okay, here we go. Secret facility is what I'm calling this because, again, this isn't an easily accessible area. And it's very, very, very small. And nobody would go here. So why is there this facility out here? Look at this. You can see a building here, an access point, something here. You can see a small building down here, an access point to this area, and then over here, 2 more buildings. And these look like they've been well taken care of. They don't look damaged. You can see walkways in between the 2 buildings. What's going on out here? I mean, really? Something's up. Something's up out there. And again, this isn't easy to get to. So that's secret facility number 1. And then I found another one at the north end of this island. Here we go. I don't think I could. And this is even smaller. Check this out. Again, not an easy place to get to, right? Look at this. Really? Wow, there's a lot going on here, whatever is going on here. And again, how would you even have electricity out here? Look at that, that's tiny. That is just a little speck of an island, but it is loaded with activity. And if you blinked, if you were flying over that, you wouldn't even know it was there. But there's probably 12 buildings there, and they remind me of maintenance buildings or something like that. They don't look like something that would be too inviting, like a resort or something like that. And besides, if it were some sort of a resort, where would your electricity be and all of your resources? I mean, the resources out here would be very few and far between. You know what I mean? So I don't know what's going on here, some sort of a top secret project. There's something going on there that I don't know, it's interesting. In one of the most remote places in the world. Very, very unusual. And this location's the same place as the little disc or whatever it was we saw. 162636 south. This is in the southern hemisphere, just below the equator, 16 degrees below the equator. And then 593631 east. Take you right there. There it is. So 2 secret facilities. There wasn't anything else on the bigger island. You would think, okay, if you were going to pitch a tent out here somewhere, you would use one of the bigger islands where you've got a little more room. No, they chose one of the smallest ones out there. And again, when you back out, this place isn't even hardly visible on Google Earth. But it's next to our favorite place, Madagascar. You know what? If I had an airplane, where I would go would be Madagascar. I would definitely go over here and check out the giant trees. There's no way to get there. You'd probably have to fly into Mozambique, somewhere down in South Africa, and take a boat over to Madagascar. But we'd go check out the trees. Absolutely we would. What a fascinating place. Quick update on Mount Rainier. Up to 1,329 earthquakes and counting. This is up 529 from just right around 4 weeks ago. It was 800 4 weeks ago. Now it's 1,329. So the frequency of earthquakes at the top of Mount Rainier is obviously increasing a lot. The number has nearly doubled, guys, since we started following this closely. I mean, I would check in over here, 3 or 4 times a week. This is one of my pit stops, Mount Rainier, since it's gotten real active. But now it's up to 1,329. I'm over at the website. I'll show you right here. Here we go. 1,329. That's today. I just updated that before I started this video. So the activity at Mount Rainier is increasing a lot. We've got earthquake activity all across the U.S. Some of it is, probably related to other things. A lot of activity in California, earthquake activity in Alaska. There was a larger earthquake down in the southern Aleutians, a 5.1. That was earlier today. No major aftershocks. And you can see earthquakes starting to reach down towards Japan over here in the Western Pacific. Then, of course, the ongoing swarm off the island of or near Kamchatka. A lot of activity over here where the 8.8 was at that appeared to trigger a volcano and, of course, created a large, a tsunami that went all the way across the Pacific Ocean, even tripping buoys down below the equator near South America. Unbelievable. Grand Canyon fire. I've got a lot of updates to share with you guys. Meteor, hurricane, Grand Canyon, New Jersey. Here we go. I'm going to take you guys up to the Grand Canyon. Here's a live look at the Grand Canyon. And here's what the Grand Canyon looked like a couple of days ago. This wildfire up here is no joke. Where'd my handy dandy picture go? There's Las Vegas. People are getting smoke all the way up in Las Vegas from the Grand Canyon wildfire. This is a webcam that looks out over the Grand Canyon. If you've ever been to the Grand Canyon, it's a sight to behold. I've been up there, and it is truly, in my humble opinion, a wonder of the world. It is absolutely beautiful. It really is. If you ever get a chance to go there, go there. It's well worth your time. But there's a large wildfire up there right now that's consumed. Let me refresh this page real quick. 123,434 acres, 13% containment. And as you can see, the bright spots you see on this map, over here along the western flank, the southeastern flank, the fire is hot. Up here along the northwestern flank, and you can see it's spreading north into the little mountains. That's the large wildfire in northern Arizona, and there's a large wildfire over here in Southern California near Santa Maria. The Gifford fire, the fire in northern Arizona, is the Dragon Bravo fire. Look at this. There'll probably be more evacuation if this one continues. 65,000 acres as of today. Yesterday it was 64. Let's update that real quick just to make sure. Yeah, 65,000 acres. But as you can see, this thing is still hot all the way around the vast majority of the perimeter. That's what the bright lights are. Those are ongoing fires and new fires. 7% containment. They have nearly 2,000 personnel on the Gifford fire. Once again, that's underway right now as I do this video. Let me go to Zoom Earth. We could see the wildfire smoke, the plume over here yesterday. Let's see if we can see it today. Is it visible? Oh yeah, you can see it off the coast. Something near Los Angeles. What's going on down there? Is that the wildfire smoke from Santa Maria? San Luis Obispo? Could be. I don't know. I've got a video from Las Vegas. A gentleman, here's what the Grand Canyon looks like. What a view, right? Massive plume of smoke looking across the Grand Canyon. That is a beautiful place, I will say. That is one cool place. I don't know what started the fire. I don't think they know what started the fire either, to be honest with you. Here we go, Las Vegas. This gentleman sent me a video of the air, just the overall air quality in Las Vegas. And as you can see on this map at Zoom Earth, this is from yesterday, by the way, Las Vegas was covered in wildfire smoke, primarily from California. And this gentleman here, George, 8/4/2025, sent me this quick video just showing a 360-degree view. He said from his location, they couldn't even see the strip at Las Vegas, and they couldn't see the airport at Las Vegas where they were staying, that the smoke was so incredibly thick. Pretty wild. We got here, oh, the buoys. We still have buoys rocking in the North Pacific. I wanted to share that with you guys. The Pacific Ocean, the waters are going to be a little choppy for probably the next couple of days. They will eventually calm down, but there's been so much earthquake activity over here in the Western Pacific. It's keeping the ocean stirred up. I mean, we just saw a tsunami 72 hours ago that went down into the Kuril Islands, and those waves also ripple across slowly across the Pacific. So it's going to be just like a wash bin out there for the next 2 or 3 days at least. It's going to be a while before that calms down. No doubt about it. As promised earlier, I have a UV update real quick for those of you that like to follow the UV. Here we go. Ground level ultraviolet radiation from Abbotsford, British Columbia at 50-degree north latitude. Look how low that is. This is the only good thing about wildfire smoke. Darren in Abbotsford was getting wildfire smoke. This reading's from yesterday, 2.61. That's very low. Sky was full of smoke and a little bit of cloud cover. Here's the reading from Arizona. Different story. I just took this a couple hours ago, 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago, in fact. 11.28 was my high reading over here on the right. That's the total UVAB. That's what's supposed to be at ground level. The instrument on the left was showing very trace amounts of UVC. We're not supposed to see any UVC at ground level. So that instrument has always been like that. It's always detected trace amounts in the summertime. It'll start off at 0.01. Peak summer, it goes up to 0.04. This is what the sky looked like today in Arizona. You can see a little bit of activity, but other than that, all blue. Here we go. Atlas update. For those of you following the Interstellar Traveler, here we go. A closer view of the object. I'm still not convinced it's a comet yet because it's not detecting, the instruments aren't detecting any type of a tail or a coma. It looks like it's like a solid object, guys. I don't know how else to describe it because there's nothing else to talk about. I don't know. It's like 7 miles wide, which I know if that were a craft of some sort, that is absolutely massive. But we don't know what's out there. I mean, we don't. We just know what's inside the friendly confines of our atmosphere. And we don't know everything that goes on here. But yeah, there it is. And this one here, if there were a tail, you would easily see it right back here. At least part of it. That's why I use this particular format. You would see the tail. And you would see outgassing, especially in front of this thing. You would see a very distinct coma by now. Because this thing is well inside the solar system. It's getting closer and closer to the sun every day. So nothing comes into the solar system without dealing with the sun. That's just part of it. If you're going to come in this solar system, you will deal with the sun's solar wind. Period. It's not up for debate. So it's feeling the sun's heat right now, at least the solar wind pressure. So where's the outgassing? There is none. So that tells me that this, at least right now, this isn't behaving like a comet. because a comet would be screaming right now from the intense pressure of the solar wind from the sun. It's not happening. It's not there. So we just call it like we see it. There's not anything to suggest that this is a comet. It's not behaving like a comet. But as promised, this is a closer view of whatever is traveling from a star that they say like 11 billion years ago. And that's hard to even wrap your mind around. You know what I mean? But they say that this thing's on a flight path that was almost as if it were planned out. They said you couldn't have planned it any better. They said the chances of this thing we're going in even closer now. The chances of this thing doing what it's doing naturally are 0.05%. Actually 0.005. A half of a percent. Flying by Jupiter, Mars, and Venus, and behind the sun at perihelion, away from the Earth, and plus coming in horizontally on the ecliptic plane. All of those things are they're quite shocking to very smart people, Harvard scientists included, or the main one. But there it is. I mean, I went in as close as I could get here, guys, without becoming too super pixelated. You can see some pixels in the image here. I get it. But whenever you're doing this type of work, it's a give and take situation. I removed a lot of the noise, but not the important noise, looking like I'm looking for a tail. So I kept it dark back here so that if there were any evidence of debris, it would be magnified because of the light. I left the vast majority of the light alone. There's no tail. No tail at all. You know, this one here, I just took away all the clutter. I took away everything. I just left what we can see of the object right there. There it is. Obviously, this is a distorted view because, you know, we are very heavily zoomed in. It's not like we're looking at this through a pair of binoculars. This is several million miles away. Michael Jager took this video. He is one of the best in the world. I mean, if there's something out there in the solar system, I don't care where it's at, he can and will find it. And he was one of the first ones to find this thing. And it was coming in at such an odd, well, it wasn't coming in at an angle. It was coming in even with the ecliptic. So it was using, again, as if it did it on purpose, it was using the Milky Way galaxy and the light and the stars as like camouflage. So it was blending in with the center of the galaxy, making it tough to find. So it wasn't discovered until it was like out in the vicinity of Jupiter. Efrain Morales took this little video segment out of Puerto Rico. It's just a different view from August 2nd of 2025. We go in as close as we can, and right there it is. And again, let me pause it here real quick. It looks like one big pixel, but if we're looking for signs of activity, you would see it. If there was a tail there, you would see it because I left the density alone. There should be dusting in the back behind this thing, and there isn't. There's nothing even in the front. Here's another view. There's no dusting. Here's another one. This one here would definitely show it because this would highlight all the particles in the tail, right? They would be here. They're not. They're just not there. They're absent. They're not part of the equation. So in my humble opinion, this thing is not a comet. So what do we have going on here? Who's visiting us from where and what do they want? I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's happening, guys. This is the third time it's happened in modern history that we know of, or I think recorded history. We've had two in 8 years. And as far as we know, we've never had visitors from outside the solar system. This thing right here, coming from another star system, has a completely different molecular structure than anything we have here on the Earth, in our solar system. It has an entirely different molecular structure. You know, if I was in charge of all the big toys that could get there and see exactly what this thing is, and if it is an organic object, try to get something from it, you know what I mean? And bring it back to maybe the moon or whatever. Don't bring it into the earth because we don't know exactly what it is. But right now, I don't know that we can even catch up with it. It's moving at 100 and I think it's moving at 130 something thousand miles an hour now. And that's another thing that's a mystery. It's slowing down. Most comets, when they get close to the sun, they speed up. So this thing has kind of got a mind all of its own. It defies logic. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Air quality alert in Ohio. Are you serious? This was sent in by Anthony. He's shared this with me via email. Anybody else in Ohio noticing the poor air quality? It's from the wildfire smoke up in Canada, guys. It's drifting down all the way down into, yes, Ohio. And they are getting air quality alerts. You can see the air, I think it was yesterday you got this. And you can see the thick plume of smoke stretching from northern Manitoba all the way over to Massachusetts. Our friends in New England were experiencing the wildfire smoke too, that's traveling thousands of miles. And I've seen that wildfire smoke years when they've had even worse wildfire activity wrap all the way around the northern hemisphere. Unbelievable. So that's why, Anthony, there was a air quality alert like we had out here in Arizona. But you know the thing of it was, when our air quality was at 500, that's the maximum. You know it was probably higher. We didn't even get an alert. I had to look at it myself. I just have, because I look at it every day. I look at the temperature and to see if we're ever, going to get any rain. Here's that area of disturbance down here. It could form in 7 days. 40% chance. So that's this area right there. So there could be something there. But we didn't get an alert. They got alerts up in Ohio, but for some reason our air quality was at 500, which is the maximum, and we didn't get an alert. But that was from the Grand Canyon wildfire smoke, which was highly visible on that day, and it was indeed traveling south. It's been showing up over here at Zoom Earth for several days. Wildfires up in Utah. There's the Grand Canyon. I mean, that's one of the biggest fires I think I've ever seen at the Grand Canyon. And over here in Southern California, which they're known for wildfire activity. But look at the smoke carrying all the way out into the Pacific Ocean. That is huge. And that got big real quick. Wow. So a lot of wildfire activity going on right now as I do this video. Okay, I've done the UV hurricane. We are up. Oh, the big sunspot. Let's take a look at it. It's turning towards the Earth. Here we go. Once this complex, we can almost see it. We've been talking about this for a few days. See it laying back there? Oh my. That's the big show right there. There it is. There's part of it. There's another part of it. That's actually not part of it, but back here is. So this is starting to turn towards the Earth. So when this turns towards the Earth, look for an increase in earthquake activity and volcanic activity. It's coming. And not only that, the solar flares. We're already seeing an increase in solar flares. Had a large M-class solar flare today that did have an Earth-directed component. So we could see a geomagnetic storm here in the next 36 to maybe 60 hours. There's one on the way, at least a partial CME. We'll have more information available on that tomorrow as the instruments detect the CME. But there was an eruption today. Look for more in the future as the sun is starting to get busy, and the overall energy of the sun, the solar flux, that's this number right here, is going to slowly start to go up. And when that goes up, shock waves and energy start to reverberate through the solar system. Not only Earth feels it, every planet in the solar system feels that energy. It's coming, guys. That is one big region. Hey, moderator. Oh, the ears ringing. Yeah, you know what? There goes the ears ringing. Usually, and my moderators made this connection. When there's large sunspots facing the Earth directly, like you can see a complex right here that's facing the Earth. In fact, it's growing. It's gotten a little bit bigger here in the last 48 hours. Some people associate the ear ringing phenomenon, and it's a real thing, with sunspot activity and solar storms and increased human activity. Yeah, absolutely. And I believe it. We did a study about 10 years ago on coronal hole activity and humans, and how humans react to just raw star power. A coronal hole is a complete void on the Earth-facing side of the sun, and I don't think there's one right now facing the Earth. Well, yeah, there is too. Oh wow, that's kind of big. What this does, this sends raw star power directly at the Earth. This one here is in the southern latitude, so it's not necessarily directly at the Earth. Remember, that's curved, so it's kind of going down. If that was up more at the equatorial regions, wow, we would have a very serious geomagnetic storm. That's a big opening, probably 200,000 miles wide and nearly 100, maybe at least 50,000 miles thick, you know? That's a big coronal hole. But anyway, the star power comes off there unchallenged. The atmosphere of the sun kind of tones the solar wind down a little bit. Not right there. It's coming out of there at full speed ahead. So when it interacts with the Earth, yes, it can create geomagnetic storms without having any type of solar X flares or M flares or CMEs. So I did a study to see how, in fact, it's right here. The sun and you, there's the study. I just condensed it into small, understandable format right there. The sun and you. That talks about the coronal holes, and we dove deep. We went down into what you had to eat that day. You know, if there was a coronal hole facing the Earth, your age, whether you were male, female, XY chromosome, your blood type. We dove deep to try to make it count. You know, but there's so much data. You needed so much data entry. You needed a small army of people to actually do it. But we did learn something from it. You know, we did have people participate. And one of the things that was a common denominator that we did learn was the ringing of the ears. People were suggesting that they noticed an increase in the ringing of the ears during these types of events. So, yeah, it is a real thing. I know people that deal with it. And it's not your ears, it's your central nervous system, from what I understand. We're all biological antennas, and it's just unavoidable. That's how we're made, it's how we're wired. So what's going on over here, guys? Margie, Sayla, how's it going? The ears ringing is from frequency. That is correct. Sound is frequency. Thank you. Hey, Graceless. The sound of silence literally has changed. That's basically what it is. You know, in simple terms, the sound of silence has changed. If you remember 40 or 50 years ago, I was just a kid, but there weren't cell towers. There weren't satellites orbiting the Earth, or at least as many. There weren't Wi-Fi's and cellular phones and, you know, wireless internet. There just was 5G towers. That stuff didn't exist. So nowadays, it's everywhere, especially in metropolitan areas and in cities and things like that. So we are experiencing, you know, a different type of silence. The sound of silence has literally changed. It's not the same as it was. So these frequencies, your central nervous system detects this energy, maybe on days that the sun is stirred up. And of course, we have the constant mixed in with variables. The constant being the you know, the various communication towers and signals and frequencies that are flying around now all the time, mixed in with the variable energy from the sun, because sometimes there's solar flare activity and CMEs interacting with the Earth and coronal holes, and then sometimes there's not. So it fluctuates, and the ringing of the ears fluctuates. It is a real thing, and a lot of people deal with that. Yes, indeed, that is a very real thing. Salty Pure Blood, how's it going, guys? Good to see everybody here. Good to see everybody here. Make sure you hit that like button. When you hit the like button, it just pushes the video out there a little farther. I'm not here to win a popularity contest. I just want to see the video do the best that it can. And if you guys hit the like button, it tells the algorithm that, hey, people are liking this live stream, so it'll recommend it to more people. That's all. That is all. Yay! Thank you, moderator. Who's got the next super chat? Because it detects that too. If it's getting a lot of activity and people are sharing the live, that's another thing you can do, share the live. Let me check the Schumann. You want to check the Schumann? Let's do it. Just had a request to check the Schumann. We're going to check it. Here we go. It's been elevated today, but I wouldn't say there's any spiking because there's no spiking. Check it out. This is the Schumann. This one's out of Italy. I've been using this one for a very specific reason, but as you can see today, it's been at a constant for about 12 hours, right around 10 hertz, and that's not out of bounds at all because the average is 7.83. Now, a couple days ago, you can see a big spike there above 50 hertz that lasted nearly 10 hours. So, yeah, I mean, it ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys, just like everything, you know. And for the most part, this week, the Schumann resonance has been pretty quiet. So if you're experiencing the ringing of the ears, it's probably another source if you're sensitive to the Schumann. And there's a lot of people that are sensitive to the Schumann. They don't need a graph to know that, hey, the Schumann's up today. They can tell. Speaking of graphs, the seismographs. Hey, Gwendolyn, thank you for the super chat. Sun and me. That's right. I wrote that 10 years ago. That is over here, or actually the sun and you right there. I wrote that little paper 10 years ago. Looking at the seismographs, they are unusually quiet today. There's been a few earthquakes, but nothing that's reverberated all the way through the earth. And these are seismographs across the United States. Thank you, Gwendolyn, for the super chat. Who's got the next super chat? Let's get them going. Cats don't bark. Thank you. Appreciate that. These are across the United States. Look at how quiet they are. Remember the other day after the 8.8? They all turned black. Today, they're quiet as can be. So is this the calm before the storm? Could be. Sometimes I've seen them stay like this for 2 or 3 weeks in a row. Absolutely. Here's the seismographs globally, and they too. Not much happening. Pretty quiet. There's a little bit of activity over in China. I mean, like, are those earthquakes? Those are not earthquakes. That's definitely not an earthquake. That's a pulse. That's a pulse. That's not an earthquake. Nah. All right, whatever. That's cool. Just looking at the other ones around the world. Now, this is over by, I believe, if I had to guess, I don't know where Petropavlovsk is, but that's showing those are small earthquakes. They're very rapid jigs, not like a pulse. Those are earthquakes. So probably detecting the earthquake activity that we've been looking at and talking about for days right here. There is a lot of activity over there. A lot of activity. Pink Floyd will close the show. Calm before the storm. Corrine, I think you could be right. That is very quiet. Those seismographs are as quiet as I've seen them for the longest time. And here's the thing, the stage is being set because the Earth-facing side of the sun is about to get a facelift. It's going to change drastically here over the next 3 days at least, 3 days. Once this area up here turns towards the Earth, then we're going to see a lot of a change with regard to sunspots and active regions, and the energy will increase considerably. That was a very large region at one time. It was so large, it was changing the way that the sun oscillated. The way that the sun was even reacting to it. It was that big. So it's still probably got a pretty decent size to it. This was the last size that I saw, and I had it circled right over here. It's bigger than anything we had over here on the Earth-facing side over here. Way bigger. So that's coming. It's right back here. We should be able to see more of it tomorrow, but we'll have to wait till tomorrow and see. So possibly a Category 2, 3 hurricane, but again, don't count on this because it's a 10-day forecast, and you can rest assured it will change. But it is showing in multiple locations that there could be at least a disturbance over there. I mean, at the very minimum, a tropical wave. I kind of doubt it'll have time to get organized and become a sophisticated Category 2 or 3, but we'll see. We'll see. I just kind of doubt it. We'll see. Arizona Raven, what's going on, Chief Engineer? How's everybody doing today? Thank you, E. Mark Watt. try to mix it up over here a little bit. I'm an Earth Watchman. I watch all kinds of things around the Earth, and I report the things that I see and things that are shared with me. We were talking earlier about dirty electricity and the possible side effects of dirty electricity and how we would know if there were EMPs or dirty electricity, not necessarily EMPs, but I mean, there could be, natural ones, and how that could affect the lighting in your house along the streets. The light bulbs would flash if we were experiencing dirty E. Yeah, we talked about that this morning. ZZ from England. What's going on, guys? Spent a little time in the chat ski here. What's up, chat? What is up? He's just north of me like Arizona Raven. Yeah, I'm up in the southeast Phoenix area, and there was something flying south of me for 3 days. So I don't know if it was looking for something out there. I have no idea. 3 days, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, something was flying above the desert, almost as if it was looking for something, you know what I mean? Very specific patterns and spending 5 hours at a time. I think over the course of 3 days, it spent nearly between 15 and 20 hours flying a perfect grid pattern over southern Arizona. I know well over 15 hours. Yes, absolutely. Spaceman Paul, thank you. Anybody got the super chat today? Who's got the red super chat? Who's got the red one? I think we're through our list here. In fact, I know we are. Wait a minute, let me look. Oh, that was the earlier one. Atlas, Arizona, New Jersey, Grand Canyon, hurricane update, South Africa meteor, Google Earth, cool stuff. Don't forget to check out the Google Earth location. That is kind of interesting. I don't know if it like I said.